Is it time for Tua?
Is it time for Tua?
I think it is.
I mean, it's up to you. I'm not opposed to it, but at the same time, I don't really see the benefit of throwing him into this situation right now. Like, you throwing him out there just for the sake of throwing him out there? Cool.
I don't know. I just don't think anything's changing. I don't think anything's changing with Fitzpatrick, though.
But I don't think that was ever going to be the case. The whole situation was let Tua get completely healthy, let Tua get eased into this thing, and whenever y'all feel that he's ready and organizationally you're ready to turn that page, then you do. But we've seen this numerous times. You put a young quarterback out there too soon and he gets damaged, it changes everything. It doesn't matter how much talent you have. Once you get damaged, it's over. Now, Joe Burrow, he's been surprised.
I was going to say, then you got to tip your cap to Burrow and Herbert coming out like this.
You definitely, more so Burrow, because I think the Chargers team is good. The question mark was quarterback. And Herbert has shown that he's been able to operate. They also been doing a good job protecting him. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow's been running for his life. He's making plays, but he's not being protected the same way. And right now, he's just been on the good end of it. When that thing gets later and he starts playing some teams that really got dogs up front like that could get ugly for him. And we know once you get a couple of them guys that get battered, man, we seen it. It changes everything, man.
That's the whole question, though. Yeah. It's like, man, are you really cut out for it then?
I don't think it's that simple, man.
You don't think?
I don't, man. I don't think it's that simple.
Because like Goff came back from a really bad rookie year. I mean, there's quarterbacks that come back from that type of stuff.
I don't think it's that simple, man.
I get it. I mean, that's like a whole nother conversation. I feel like we wanted to deep dive into what first round quarterbacks came back after bad first years. Is it right to throw someone out there as opposed to let them sit? Because then you could say the whole thing with Mahomes. Like their plan was to let him sit.
But it worked. They didn't put him into it the last game of the year.
At the same time, though, I think they made the playoffs that year.
They did.
Whereas, like with the Dolphins, you know, if you're 1-5, I think they're 1-3 right now. I don't think there's any hope for them to make the playoffs.
Yeah, so
with
if you
Fitzpatrick.
Don't have any hope, anyways.
No, I'm saying could you get some hope with Tua?
But is it going to be enough where you make the playoffs? That's the real question you're asking yourself. Do you think the Dolphins make the playoffs this year with Tua? If they would have put Tua in this week going forward the rest of the year, do you think they're a playoff team?
I think that's the whole argument. It's like, all right, let's see.
But this is my thing. They're more than just a quarterback away. It's not, it's bad quarterback play. That's why they're not good enough.
They played the Seahawks decent, like on defense and everything.
They did.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I think it's time for Tua.
I'm cool, man.
What do you think? Are you worried about the injuries? That would be the one thing I'm concerned about. I'd just be concerned about the injuries.
Yes, but that's a part of being battered. I'm not talking about you just go out here and play a bad game. I'm talking about you getting banged out, man. They come in here and they hitting you multiple times. They just getting at you because your team as a whole just isn't good. That's what I'm more concerned about. If Tua isn't any other team where they don't have Fitzpatrick on the team, Tua is their guy. For right, wrong, or whatever, man, it is what it is. But I feel like when you have this type of situation right here, where you're not forced to put him in, where you're not trying to compete for a playoff spot, I don't see the value in just throwing him out there for the sake of throwing him out there. If you wanted him to be your guy, you wanted to contend for the playoffs this year, then you start him week 1. Like, that's how I view it. But if after 5 games, now all of a sudden you're like, all right, yeah, let's go to it. I'm like, what changed in 5 weeks?
So you don't think they had a chance, weren't thinking playoffs with Fitzpatrick?
I personally don't, no. Okay. Because if you were, you go with Tua from day one. We know that Fitzpatrick from a above the neck standpoint has seen a lot of football. And we know from, like I said, pre-snap stuff, some of his checks he can do. That's great. But from a talent standpoint, Fitzpatrick isn't in the same conversation as Tua. We know that. Tua, with Fitz, he can get hot. We know he's streaky, super streaky, and he has just enough where he can make it interesting.
Yeah.
But we believe Tua is a legit franchise quarterback, a guy that can change the whole outlook of your organization. Yeah. If I really wanted that this year, I'm doing that from the jump. I'm pulling the same move that the Bengals did with Joe Burrow and Andy Dalton. If anything, I would expect it, the move that they did with trading Dalton or getting rid of Dalton and then allowing Burrow to take over, I would expect Miami to do that with Fitzpatrick. Just say, get rid of him. Let's let Tua be the guy. Both of them organizations operate a little differently though right now, man.
Yeah.
I just see it, man, where the Bengals, like I said, right now, I feel like they're getting lucky in terms of Burrow not getting completely killed, but it still is in a good situation for him. But they kind of forced their hand by getting rid of Dalton. With the Dolphins, they're doing it how we thought they would do it in Cincinnati. Like, hey, man, you don't have to rush to throw Tua out there. Is Tua being out there and getting you 5 wins this year really going to be that big of a difference? If anything, it hurts you because now you're not even getting a good player in the draft in terms of what you could be getting You know what I mean? So that's what I'm thinking of.
Well, here's the question then. They go, let's say they go 3-13 or something with Fitzpatrick. Mm-hmm. Do you know what you have in Tua? That's the whole thing. Where
I think you know what you had in Tua when you drafted him. You believed in him. That's why you took him where you took him. If you had questions about him, you take him in the Lawrence second, third, or
Fields,
fourth, right?
I don't think this Lance guy might be overrated, but Lawrence and Fields, I don't know. You could do the same thing as the Cardinals, but the Cardinals at least got to see Rosen. I don't know. We've talked about this, that you think that Rosen got like the short end of the stick.
Oh, it was a terrible situation.
But like, I don't know. I guess it would be nice to know what you had in Tua. Like if Tua comes in and you bounce back and you go like 8-8, you're like, oh wow, I'm feeling really good.
Yeah, feeling really good picking at 17, 18, huh?
Yeah, but at least you know you got your guy.
Yeah, but at least now you're not gonna be able to get a top 10 pick either.
What do you mean? Now we're talking tanking. I don't know. I think you're
but I'm not saying I'm not talking tanking. I'm just simply saying, is those 5 wins that Tua might give you worth that? That's what I'm asking you.
I think it's just seeing if you got your guy seeing if he could spark hope. Maybe make the playoffs, because like you're at this point in the season 1-3.
You see him every day in practice. You scouted him when he was in college. You watched everything about him. When you take a guy in the top 10, you know everything about this guy. If they didn't think that was their guy, you don't draft that guy when you drafted him. The reason with Josh Rosen and people, well, what about Rosen in Arizona? It was 2 different organizations in terms of the management people who were there, in terms of the coaching staff. 2 different coaching staffs, 2 different management teams that were part of those picks. That's why it's different in terms of Rosen being there and then Rosen gone the next year, because, well, now Rosen was a part of this coach's regime. He was the new guy. He wanted that guy. Now it's a whole new coach and he wants this guy. That was that whole situation. Whereas when you're talking about with Miami, they still got the same guy. Unless Flores is about to get fired next year, I don't see that happening. I just don't think that it benefits them like that to just throw him out there for the sake of throwing him out there. You know what you have in Tua. Tua is going to be a good quarterback. We know that. I don't think that that's up for debate. I think it's just more so, when do you want to throw him out there? If you're not pressed to throw him out there this year, I mean, if they said that, in training camp, if Tua would have been like, hey, man, my hip ain't feeling good right now, we're going to put him on IR for the first half of the year. Or matter of fact, we just going to redshirt this whole season. We would have been like, all right, cool. We expected that. But because he was healthy, now it's all of a sudden, well, man, we 4 or 5 games in, man. Let's throw him out there now.
If he's healthy.
Nah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I don't know if he's fully healthy. That's the whole question. That would be my concern. Mm-hmm. That would be my concern. If he's fully healthy, it's kind of like, why not? At some point, you got to play. Mm-hmm. That's my thing.
I like it. It's all good. I'm sure we dip, man. Hey, it's difference of philosophies, man. No biggie.